What should a person do when they get pulled over?
So I think, well, the first thing, I think it's important that we would love to have everybody pull to the right. We still get that occasionally where if there's a shoulder and like, let's say Highway 169, we'll get people that will pull to the left. And that's important
Really?
for people to, it doesn't happen as much because, we've had a law in place for quite a while. It's called the Ted Foss law, move to your right, right? And that was based off of a trooper getting hit by a driver who was he was out on an accident. And I think that it's still, I think people panic a little bit, right? They see the lights behind them and they, oh my goodness, I'm going to get pulled over. I got to just move over to the left. And we would rather have you go to the right. So that's the first piece, right? Is we want you to get you to the appropriate side, the right side. As far as the traffic stop, we get this question a lot, and I think that it's just calm, like be calm, be patient. You don't need to immediately start digging for your insurance card or digging for your wallet because unfortunately, for a multitude of reasons that makes us nervous. And it's just a natural reaction when you see, somebody driving a vehicle and then all of a sudden you get stopped and there's all this, we call it just commotion, right? We call this all this movement that goes on in the vehicle. And so my opinion is just calm, be calm, just allow for that officer to get up to the car and then just have a conversation, right? And wait for those instructions until the officer gives them to the person or the driver. A lot of people want to get out of the car and come back and have a conversation between the vehicles. And we don't want that. We want you to stay in your car because that's the best place for you. We don't want to be out of the car. There's just, the natural reaction to driving by lights is that you look at what's going on. And what I think people sometimes don't realize is your vehicle tends to follow where you're looking. And so what happens is that you hear about all these accidents that occur based off of an accident or emergency lights. And so for us, it's trying to get out of there as fast as possible. Like we don't want to be on the highway or the roadway, and we try to speed things up just because it just creates a lot of slowdown, so to speak. So I think with people jumping out of the car to have those conversations, sometimes people think it's more convenient. Like I've had a person that has said to me, well, I don't want you by the side of my car, and our response is, well, I'd rather have you in the car. That's safer with your seatbelt on, those kind of things. And then obviously there's that small percentage of confrontation, right? We need to control that piece. And so staying in your car, keeping your hands on the steering wheel and just having a conversation with the officer and then following those instructions, like you'll have an officer that'll say, can I see your driver's license and proof of insurance? We've had people that said, well, would you mind if I go to my glove box and open up to get the insurance? I mean, those are great conversations to have, right? Not that we're looking to be nervous and stressed out, but it just makes everything much more soothing, much more, we're able to communicate better. It's hard for us to hear too. Like if we have conversations outside of the car with people and there's vehicles flying by, that's a tough conversation to have where we can actually hear you a little bit better when you're inside your car and the car is kind of keeping it muffled to where we can have a good conversation with you. So yeah, those are, I mean, it's just, I don't want to say it's common sense, but it's, we want, you don't need to be nervous, right? I mean, all right, is there a chance you're going to get a citation for something? Sure. But as long as those conversations are calm and we're getting business taken care of, so to speak, it'll go fast and hopefully it ends up in a verbal warning.
What are the best excuses you've heard?
Oh boy. I kind of thought maybe you'd ask that. I have had, I've had a seatbelt one. Me personally, I've had a seatbelt one. The driver didn't have their seatbelt on. I stopped the driver for no seatbelt, and they had a stomach ache, and so they didn't have their seatbelt on for that reason. And they said they could get a doctor's note. Because they had some sort of medical thing. So I've had that
medical.
I was looking. I've heard a bunch of them. I was looking at not the miles per hour, but looking at the other. Like we've had that, and that's a great question because, like, I don't know what the percentage is, but I feel like there's a large percentage of people that probably know why they get stopped. I don't know what that is, but just be truthful. Like, I mean, do you know why I stopped it? Yeah, I was speeding. I was doing whatever. And like for me personally, that goes a long way. The ones that don't go are well, I wasn't speeding, or oh, I have no idea why I was stopped. Well, you were doing 92 and a 65. I mean, it's like, what? It's that's a speed limit. So yeah, I mean, it's just, there's a crucial why in the road. And I think every officer for the most part starts with, do you know why you're being stopped? And that's an important question for us because we always like to see how this conversation is going to go, and it always surprises us. There's always well, this is why, and some reasons or excuses, I should say, are somewhat kind of legit. And that's where that officer discretion comes in. I don't think we push tickets too hard within our department. I think our officers do a phenomenal job of kind of weighing everything, getting back to the squad car and, looking at the driving record and looking at all the other variables that go into it and then saying, okay, I think that they were genuine. I think I'm going to give them a verbal warning, those kind of things, So those are all things that we take into account. I think that now if you were to get a verbal warning for a speed and then a week later you get a speed again, then that probably that percentage goes down a little bit as far as getting a verbal warning. So those are all things that we take into
But that
account.
verbal warning is recorded.
Yeah,
record,
from a
yeah,
records,
yeah.
from a records. If it's with our department, the officers can. Well, I shouldn't say our department. So our records management system is through Mille Lacs County. So if you were to have an event, we'll call it, or a traffic stop or an incident within Mille Lacs County, we'll be able to see
Okay.
all of that stuff. State Patrol has their own other records, so we don't get to sometimes see what maybe like if you were to get stopped by State Patrol the week before, we wouldn't know that.
Okay.
But those are some good questions, right? We always ask that. Have you been stopped for this before? Oh, absolutely not.
Well, no.
So
Now that I know this.
Yeah.
giving you guys all the tricks.
First of all, what county am I in?
There you go. Yep.